Hey everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we will take a look at the latest HP Spectre X360 14-inch 2024 model which I purchased on the 2nd of June 2024. So I have used the laptop quite thoroughly and this is my 2-month plus review of this beautiful and expensive laptop. HP's elite convertible, the Spectre X360 14, is beautifully designed and covers nearly every base. Its metal build exudes class and pure elegance, which is to be expected from this high-end consumer line. This model is in the Nightfall black color and it's an absolute stunner. Now HP clearly put a lot of effort into making this laptop feel very high-end. Anodized metal covers every surface with an attractive metallic sheen. Fingerprint smudges are very minimal thanks to the matte feel. Now the edges and corners are perfectly smooth, with no seams between parts. I also like HP's abstract and minimal branding. Now the Spectre's exceptionally solid chassis had almost no flex, not budging when I forcefully pressed on the palm rest. The lid is also stiff and shows no signs of weakness. It can be opened one-handed provided you do it slowly. Sadly, I found this to be a little cumbersome to do. The Spectre turns into a tablet by opening the lid 360 degrees. Its 1.44 kg heft is too much for a tablet-first device, but the functionality can be very convenient on occasion. I opened the 270-degree screen and used it in an easel-like mode to watch a movie. Now this orientation also works well in airline economy class, where you may not be able to open the lid in the normal clamshell fashion on a tray table. The HP Spectre at 1.44 kg is not the lightest, but it feels okay to move around with ease. Now the port selection is minimal. There's a 3.5mm audio jack and a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A port on the left and two Thunderbolt 4 USB-C ports on the right. Dedicated video output is missing, but either Thunderbolt 4 port supports DisplayPort over USB-C. The compact 65-watt power adapter connects to either Thunderbolt port. Now, the USB-A connector has a hinged door since the side of the laptop is too thin. So you must hold it open or use the USB-A connector to nudge it open to connect something. Now, I needed to tip the laptop on its side to do this. Also, what I found a bit odd is that the audio jack and one of the Thunderbolt 4 ports are angled along the rear corners of the chassis. Now, I found nothing practically wrong with this arrangement, but I did spend about 15 seconds the first time I used this laptop looking for the audio jack. Now, let's quickly go through the specs. My Spectre X360 14 came with an Intel Core Ultra 7 155H processor with 6 performance cores, 8 efficiency cores and 2 low power efficiency cores. It has a 1.4 GHz base clock, 4.8 GHz turbo and 28 watt base power. For graphics, it has an Intel Arc integrated graphics chip. The memory is 32 GB LPDDR5X at 7467 MHz. For storage, it has a 1 TB SSD. The display is a 14-inch 2880 by 1800 16:10 OLED with a 120Hz refresh rate, multi-touch and pen support. For networking, it has the Intel Wi-Fi 6E AX211 plus Bluetooth 5.3 and there are 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, one USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A port and a 3.5mm headphone microphone jack. The camera is a 9 megapixel with an infrared sensor. The battery is 68 watt-hours and the power adapter is 65 watts with a USB-C connector. We get Windows 11 Home as the operating system built in. The dimensions are about 12.35 by 8.68 into 0.67 inches and the weight is about 1.44 kg or 3.19 pounds. And the price as configured in India is 1,56,000 Indian rupees and around $1,899 US in the US. Talking about performance, it has more than enough performance to tackle for everyday tasks like web browsing and office work, including more demanding apps like light video and photo editing. The Core Ultra 7 brings Intel's new Arc integrated GPU with it, which is supposed to be much faster than the previous generation Iris Xe. Now I could do some light video editing and play games like Forza with ease. Of course, this is not in any way a gaming or editing machine, but when you need it, you have enough power on hand. I could easily edit 4K timelines on Filmora, but you will need to keep it plugged in and switch to the performance mode to get the best results. Now, the Core Ultra 7 155H has a 28 watt base power rating in the Spectre, but this chip can be rated for 45 watts in a laptop that has more cooling capacity. It would perform better at 45 watts, so take note of the wattage before comparing laptops. The lower wattage is going to be the norm for thinner laptops like the Spectre. The 28 watt Core Ultra chips replace the previous generation Core P series chips. The previous Spectre X360 13.5 used a squarish 3:2 aspect ratio, but HP thankfully went with a more horizontal 16:10 screen this time around. Now, there's only a single version of the screen, but it's a good one. An OLED panel with a 2880 by 1800 resolution, multi-touch, pen input, and a refresh rate that automatically adjusts from the usual 60 Hz to a smooth 120 Hz depending on the content you're watching. Now, the Spectre's OLED screen covers 85.8% of the DCI-P3 gamut and 121.5% of sRGB, which is quite good. Now, brightness is also one of the Spectre's strong points, and 366.2 nits is very good for an OLED panel. Now, the screen's glass surface worked well with the included pen, and it's good for drawing and creating notes in OneNote, etc. The pen is about the size of a real pen and includes several different tips. The screen's palm rejection worked without issue. There's no place to garage or tether the pen, so you will have to be careful not to lose it. But it does very strongly magnetically stick to the right edge of the Spectre's chassis. Now, HP gets a thumbs up for me for including this pen. The Spectre's keyboard has great tactile feedback that makes typing enjoyable. The symbols are printed in large white text that's easy to read. And there are two levels of highly visible white backlighting. The only problem is that the arrow keys are not all the same size. The power button at the top right corner doubles as a fingerprint reader. And the massive touchpad takes most of the palm rest, stretching all the way to the bottom edge. Its claim to fame is the haptic feedback, unlike other touchpads with a movable surface. This one just pulses when you press to click. The touchpad section in the Windows setting app lets you control the intensity to turn it off, and it works really well. Now, HP has moved away from Bang & Olufsen turned speakers to using its in-house Poly brand. The speakers sound great with enough volume to entertain several people around a table. I didn't hear distortion even at 100% volume. The My HP app has a manual EQ and presets for music, movies, and voice. Take a listen. So I was looking for a desktop replacement laptop with a large high-resolution screen, high refresh rate, and something which I could use for work, casual gaming, and light video editing too. And it should be relatively future-proof for at least 4 to 5 years. Now, battery life on my Spectre was a mixed bag, unlike most of the reviews seen online. In fact, I must admit, I bought this laptop seeing the great battery life claims from a lot of other reviewers, but reality is something else. The Spectre X360 lasted approximately 6 hours in my battery life test, with the Smart Sense mode on, which consists of web browsing, video streaming, and office work at approximately 50% of screen brightness. Now, in this mode, the laptop automatically senses the workload and provides or decreases power accordingly. Now, even in the balanced mode, it was the same story. I was honestly expecting something in the range of at least 9 hours or so, but that was not the case. Now, one problem that I faced is that there is no way to set the charging limit to say 80% on this laptop, which is offered by a lot of other brands like Asus. I tried a lot to get this to work, but it just doesn't. When I asked HP support, they said it's an inbuilt feature which automatically kicks in, but I never saw that happen. I guess HP can fix that with a software update. No part of the laptop seemed more than lukewarm to the touch. The Spectre's cooling fans were well behaved and were nearly inaudible for most tasks. They weren't too audible even when running games or doing video editing. HP Spectre X360 14 elevates the bar for premium convertible ultrabooks, one that was already set very high by the previous Spectre X360 13.5. Now, one of its main downsides is that it has limited ports, but at least it includes one USB-A port, and that's not always a given with products like these. HP also surprisingly included a pen instead of charging extra. Well done, HP. Nearly everything about the Spectre is outstanding, from its build quality and OLED screen to its delightful keyboard. I also think its haptic touchpad works very well. HP also deserves a shout out for including such a high quality webcam. I think HP should have kept the previous model's 3:2 aspect ratio, but 16:10 is competitive with the market. Also, the battery life is lacking and doesn't live up to its expectations. Now granted, this Spectre's excellence doesn't come cheap, commanding rupees 1,56,000 rupees or $1,899 with 32 GB of RAM and a 1 TB SSD. But if you can shell out the money, it's a first-class convertible ultrabook and one that is highly recommended. To conclude, I would even suggest waiting for the latest Snapdragon X Elite laptops, which promise even longer battery life and great performance. The only problem is the app compatibility with Snapdragon chips, which should also improve with time. But again, if you want a premium, well-spec'd ultrabook, the HP Spectre X360 14 is a very good choice. Well, I hope you like this video and it helps you to make an informed purchase decision. If you like this video, please do click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and do leave your comments on what is the laptop that you're using at the moment and what do you think about the HP Spectre X360 14 2024. Take care, thank you for supporting my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.